The staff welcoming all coordinator for the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy is our final presenter, and will be talking to us about providing eviction protection and rent relief for Virginians impacted by COVID-19 under the umbrella of our poverty and economic justice category. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Teresa, and thank you all for being here and staying for 2 hours. It's a long time to be talked at on Zoom, so really appreciate y'all staying until the end. I just, by a show of hands, because I can scroll through the pages, how many folks have been following what is going on with evictions and the housing crisis in Virginia during COVID-19? Awesome. Okay, so lots of folks have been receiving some information. So here at special session, special session has to be called for a particular reason. And so this special session was called to deal with both COVID related things and also criminal justice related reform. And one of the things, obviously, that has affected the majority of people here in Virginia during COVID-19 has been housing. As most people on this Zoom might know, Virginia is pretty notorious for having poor housing and tenant laws already. It was a crisis 2 years ago when it came to evictions in Richmond. And so it is absolutely no surprise that it is still a crisis now, and even more so than ever. I did drop a fact sheet into the chat. If you all are reader writers, you can follow along to that fact sheet. Essentially, there were 2 bills that were put forth during special session to deal with evictions, one in the House and one in the Senate. Both are languishing. Both have, well, one has been heard and re-referred and et cetera, but both are languishing, and it is doubtful that I think at this point that that's going to be the vehicle for eviction protection. There are still opportunities in the budget for some of those things to happen. But I do definitely want to bring to everyone's attention that the additional funds for rent relief are an ask, and also safeguards for tenants are an ask. Those 2 things, we need them both, right? And the administration has been very clear that the $50 million that they gave to the state rent relief fund was just seed money. But then every time we have a meeting with them, they say, not enough of that money is leaving the bucket for us to think that the need is greater. When the National Low Income Housing Coalition did the maths on what the needs would be, and it's 2-point-something billion. So 50 million isn't enough, but it is a fact that the money isn't moving out of that rent fund very quickly. And so if the need is great and the money isn't moving out quickly, we decided the issue was very likely that there is some kind of kink in the system. And so aside from my work that I do at Virginia Interfaith Center, I'm also the chair of the COVID committee at the Virginia Coalition for Immigrant Rights. And we decided to ask our members, immigration organizations across the state, what are they seeing as an issue for obtaining rent relief for their folks during this time? And this isn't public information yet, but I did just want to list off some of the things that the organizations were saying. And every single organization said access, language access. One of the barriers is language access. People call and nobody answers. People call and it goes straight to voicemail. Referrals are a problem because the only way for renters or mortgage holders to apply is a cumbersome process. The application form is an issue. Some individuals are not capable of filling it out themselves. There's a lengthy delay. When attempting to complete the necessary steps, you are delayed or hindered from receiving the assistance if you fill in something wrong. So this is organizations across the Commonwealth who are trying to assist people in accessing rent relief, and the process itself is cumbersome. And those are just immigration organizations, right? Just dealing with people who have differing immigration status or language access issues. So, we're really coming up against a crisis, and Senator Locke was saying in her opening speech that, and I wrote it down because I was like, that's exactly the point, right? Is that when you're told to wait almost always means never. And I thought that was very powerful because we as advocates have definitely been told to wait when it comes to eviction protections and tenant protections. Wait till the regular session, wait till we can get through this committee, or, we'll definitely wait till we can do it in the budget. We can't wait. Wait almost always means never. And so, I think the ask from advocates like yourself is to keep putting the pressure on right now, and also to be following along and staying informed and staying connected with what will happen during regular session. Because advocacy during the special session with this issue and with many other issues has been absolutely essential to anything passing, because policy is really the work of the people. And so we're just so glad. I'm so glad to be able to connect with you all. I'm going to keep my whatever quite short. I do think there's quite a bit of knowledge probably sitting in these rooms. And I also am super open for any questions that you all might have or connections that you want to make on this issue. So the last thing I did want to share is it's important that we remember that charity is not equity. We are moving forward to an equitable Virginia. That's what we all want. And so the idea of just giving people funds or creating repayment plans, those are all good things. But what we do need to be doing is making sure that communities have a voice during the General Assembly so that they can say what they need as tenants, as communities. What we need is incredibly important. So that's the last thing that I'll say. And thank you, Teresa.